right. So I always wanted plum trees in my yard, right? So I went and I found a plum tree, and the plum tree had already done bear its fruit, so it was more in the dormant stage. So it wasn't in the fruit bearing stage. And that's very important. You don't want to, if you take a cutting from a fruit tree or a plant, you don't want it in the fruit bearing stage. You want it in the dormant stage, right? So we have some cuttings right here. I got them from some of the plum trees, some of the little plums. I guess you could call them cherry plums. They look like a small cherry tomato. And everybody from Georgia know what these plums are, right? So I got some cuttings, and we're gonna plant them to plant some plum trees that I can put in my own yard, you know, so we don't have to go travel to pick plums, you know? All right, so soon. All right, so the first thing is I cut the plants off. When I cut these cuttings off of the tree, right, I cut them at a diagonal way, So by me cutting it in the diagonal way, you know what I mean, it's gonna make sure that the plant grows properly. So I'm gonna now clean the cut, and I'm gonna actually go and cut it with my box cutter so I can get a clean cut, right? Because as soon as I cut them, I just put them in water, you know? So I recommend doing this down on a board. Don't do this in your hand like me, because you could mess around and cut your hand. So let me get a board and come. Okay, so again, I'm gonna cut this like in a diagonal. And then I'm gonna take and immerse the tip into water. So once we cut it in the diagonal way, we're gonna merge it in. So see, you don't want them to go in shock. You don't want them to start withering and things. Diagonal in the water, right? Now once you do the diagonal, what we're doing, we're sticking them in the water. So the water can nourish them, but we're gonna make them, we want them to grow some new. This one, I guess it's a few different name brands. This one is called Schultz. It's called Take Root. And what you do is you're just gonna take the tip after you dipped it in water. You're gonna take the tip of the plant. You're gonna make sure it's coated with this powder. You're gonna stick it in here and just coat it. And what that's gonna do, that's gonna make it grow roots. So then I'm just gonna simply take it here. I'm gonna dig here. You don't have to. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna just put it in here, and then I'm gonna bury it, right? Make a mound around it, so that way around the edges, water can rest in here, and this can support the plant as it's taking root, right? So we're gonna do the same thing with each one of these cuttings, and then we're gonna have some plum trees planted. All right, and that's how you take a cutting from a tree, a fruit tree, and you replant and make another tree out of a cutting. I'm gonna give it a little water right here. Just a little bit, not too much, because I want it to, don't want to dampen the soil too much, but I'm gonna give it a good water. It's enzymes that's gonna promote root growth. So when sun and water hit it, those enzymes gonna kick in, and it's gonna start growing roots. And before you know it, we're gonna have our own plum trees, and we're gonna be able to reap some. Thanks for watching. Give thanks for listening. Yes, people. Remember, growing your food, growing your own food is like growing your own money. Because when you grow these fruits and vegetables, man, the money you save, and if you sell your fruit and your vegetable too, you can really make money. You can really make a living off of this. So remember, grow your own food, and that way you know where it's coming from. You know what's in it. You know it don't have no poisonous chemicals in it. You know it's not GMO because you grew it yourself, right? And also, you can make some money in the process. It's not about money though, because the goal is to have to live without money, if possible, or with the least amount of money as possible. So that's why we grow our own food. Then we only have certain things where we have to pay. We get certain things like solar panels, so we eliminate light bill, seeing power bill, you know. Once the house is paid for, with land, with property, all them things there, we might have to pay taxes or whatever, some small, you know, utility fees. But the goal is to be sustainable and self-sustainable. So you don't have to spend money to live. You can't just live. Seeing? Yeah, man, it's DJ Ross Hyman, your favorite roots and culture selector, and also a farmer too. Seeing? Respect, man.